Hey guys, Captain Foley here, and today's a day that you've been waiting for a while. I promise this. We are going to be looking at the BLAPOSPHERE. A friend of mine does resin model kits, and he wants to give you a tour of his shop and tell you what he does. So let's get right to it. Alright, so everybody, this is David Blappy Gerton, my friend, and he's going to tell you a little bit what we do here at the BLAPOSPHERE, or what he does here. I don't do anything here. I'm just this friend.
Hi everybody, welcome to the BLAPOSPHERE here at BLAP Models, and I'm going to give you a quick tour of the shop. I'll show you what we do. We do a lot of resin casting production. I do patterns for several garage kit companies, and I occasionally do large presentation models or display models, things like that.
Cool. So beware all who enter here. You are now entering the BLAPOSPHERE. Please leave all preconceived ideas at the door. All active imaginations welcome and encouraged. BLAPmodels.com. And Dave.
Hi everybody, welcome to the BLAPOSPHERE. Here it is. So I'll give you a quick tour around the shop. I'll show you some of the main things we do and some of the tools we have here and our capabilities and things like that. So the first thing I'll show you, the main thing we do here is production of resin garage kits. We do stuff for Starship Modeler and several of the companies on his website that he sells. I do a lot of work for Fantastic Plastic, and I'm also working for Wild Horse Models, who is out of England now as well. He's doing several projects, including working with Rick Sternbach on a project. So I'll give you a quick tour. I'll show you the basic casting bench here and what's going on. You can see the tools we're using, that kind of thing. So the primary tools of a resin caster really are going to be a pressure pot. You want to have these things so you can have bubble-free castings, have the best quality castings available. If you're not using pressure pots like this, you need to, if you're going to do any kind of resin casting, even at home. Over here you can see the main casting benches. We got our resin supplies down here. We decant them into smaller buckets here. Resin casting is a very messy job, as you can see by my shirt. I've been wearing this shirt for a number of years, and if you're going to do resin casting and wear clothes, you can absolutely ruin because you get resin on your shirt, it's done, or your pants or clothes or shoes or whatever. So this is the main casting area here. There's our supply of backing boards. And there's molds here for several projects. We're doing one right now for Fantastic Plastic. We're doing one for Wild House Models as well. And this is our board over here. It shows all the different jobs we're working on for different customers right now, so that kind of thing. So when I got calendars up here to keep track of stuff. And over here is when parts are demolded, they go onto the shelf like this. And on the far side of this shelf is our shipping area, so we can take the castings off the shelf here. We can package them on the far side and then go out to our customers. So it's a nice efficient system here. It's taken us a while to figure it out, but you got to be really efficient in this job if you're going to be able to make some money at it. So further down here, there's more molds. These are all molds that are being stored for customers. I've got several bins here. When molds are no longer any good or a job ends, we're not going to produce anymore, the molds get tossed out, or you sometimes save them for other purposes, like crusher plates. If you're doing a flat pour mold, you'll put a old dead mold on top of there to make sure you get a nice flat casting, things like that. So that's about it for the casting area over here. I'll take you over to where I do some of the molding and the mold setup and stuff like that. Hello again, everybody. So this is the basic molding area kind of behind me and on the table here beside me. We've just moved down from the casting area I showed you, which is just off camera over here.
Just over here.
So this is where a lot of the molding happens now. So I keep my various rubbers stored back here. I got, several different makes of rubber, different hardnesses, different types, platinum or tin cure, depending on the job, that kind of thing. I got my 5-gallon bucket of rubber stored down here. And space being at a premium like it is, I'm working out of my home here, so I've got my scratch building supplies here. I got a large supply of evergreen plastic here, and I got a lot of Plastistruct plus some wood and stuff like that here, and brass and things like that, and stuff in storage bins as well. So this is where the molding happens. This is the clay I use. I like to roll it out flat into thin pieces for working on my molds. I'll roll it out in several different thicknesses depending on the thickness of the part I'm going to be molding, that kind of thing. So I keep that stuff all stored over here. And scrap clay goes in here after it's used for a mold, and then I can reheat it and roll it back out again, that kind of thing. So it works very good. My buckets are stored over here for mixing the rubber in. These reusable buckets are the best way to go. They don't put any moisture into your rubber, and I mean the rubber it just cleans right out of these things quite easily. It all just comes out and away you go. So this is my main work table here. When I'm working on molds, I'll usually have the molds all boxed up like this, and they'll be all laid out on this table and on this table. The trick to this is make sure your tables are very level, so you don't get molds that are crooked when you pour your rubber. That would seem obvious to some people now, but I mean, you know, some people may not realize that if they're trying to make their own little molds at home or something, so I don't know. I've got a few projects here that are sort of started on the go. I got a job here. This is the Velocipod from The Incredibles I'm doing for Fantastic Plastic right now. That's about to get molded here. So I've got some little seats here. These are just for another job. And there's other things here. I got this little shuttle I'm doing for Dave Lewis at Resin Illuminati.
Yeah, if you're not a member of Resin Illuminati, guys, on Facebook, go check it out. They are some cool guys. Yeah,
and they're doing some great model work on there. So I'm going to be molding this up. He had this built for one of his builds. We took it apart. I'm going to mold it up, and we're going to turn it into a kit. You'll be able to purchase those.
And that's a 350 scale shuttle, right?
Yeah, that's a heavy shuttle that Dave designed. I'm molding those up for people that want them.
And that's the top half, and then the bottom half with the work. The cells are right there.
Yeah, the engines are there. And then also, we're going to be doing one of these models in 1/350, or not 1/350, 1:144 scale as well. To go with, there's the Sagittarius now from the Delta Quadrant that I was casting for them. So you'll be able to have these to go with that ship for dioramas or whatever you want to do. And I'm also going to be doing a Galileo shuttle in 1:144 scale to go with the whole series. We're going to start a whole series that way, so it'll be good. So, that's it for the molding area. I can talk about some other stuff. This is there's my Type 15 shuttle pod that I produced. I did the pattern and the casting and everything for this, and I worked a little bit with a company called Company X to market this. So these are available through Starship Modeler right now because he sells a Company X line of model kits. So there's a basic kit there with the engines, and there's a little scoop that goes on the top there and stuff. This is another great little Star Trek design that was done by Rick Sternbach on a napkin, apparently, during a producer's meeting. And they wanted a shuttle, so he did a quick sketch and said, we can do it really cheap. And they said, okay, we'll put it in the episode. So that was a good little sales job by Rick back in the day. So there's that there. And then also I do quite a bit of pattern work. There's this hover tank that I've had around for years. This is an old casting of it. I've also got the pattern for this. So I've got a good friend called Curtis Boswell who's helping me produce this kit. And these are going to be available. That's 1/35 scale, this tank. So that's a good size. And it's going to be a pretty big chunk of resin when it's done. But this is just an old crappy casting I had and I was starting to build. I've got the pattern stored safely in a box as well. So, and I mean, when it comes to patterns, I mean, they come in, customers ship them to me, so I mean, there's patterns sitting, these are 4 that are sitting here waiting, there's some more up there on the shelf that are waiting, there's some of my personal stuff, there's more patterns here for other people, I've got some stuff for April Nikita Wells, some of you may know her on Facebook, she does great stuff for Cheetah Model, so I'm going to be doing her casting as well for a bunch of her stuff, so that's going on as well. What else is there? Pattern work I'm doing. I've got a 1/48 scale job I'm doing for Fantastic Plastic. That's the HL10, the lifting body from NASA. It's 1/48 scale. And that's a 3D printed pattern done by George Waldron originally and printed by PCS Engineering. And there's a big Bartini bomber. I've got 2 printed patterns for this. There's a bit of a mix-up. So I've got one that was done by PCS Engineering, and I've got one that was also done by J&S Models. It's the similar resin, but it's a different color. So that's 1/144 scale. It's going to be a giant model of a really cool old Russian concept bomber. It was like a float plane bomber, so that's pretty neat. So there's all that stuff going on here. And that's it for the molding area, I guess. Next I can move on. Well, let's just take a look at the table here. Just pan down there for me. And these are the workspaces I have here. So I have my workspace. That's very quickly I can reconfigure this. I'm working on a couple of patterns for stuff right now, and I got some stuff I'm doing for molding as well. So this is a bit messy right now, but I've got it organized very well. So like tools that are out can go, like the claim tools go here, my building tools go here. So within 5 minutes I can go from working on molds to working on construction, that kind of thing. I keep all my tools fairly organized in the drawer here. I've got like all my files, for instance, right? So they're just you know, really quick to grab. You don't want to be wasting time rummaging through a bin or a box or something, right? So Adam Savage describes it as first level retrievability. This is not quite first level, but it's pretty close. So I haven't got a lot of room, so drawers are a necessity for me because I can't put everything on the bench standing up like he likes to do. So I've got 2 granite surfaces. There's one here that my laptop's sitting on right now, and there's one down there. And there's all my machinist tools, all my squares and 1, 2, 3 blocks and everything for, you know, precise construction of patterns or even models I'm building for myself or for my customers or whatever's going on. So that's the primary building area. This is my area. I have what I call a guest spot, which is right down here.
That's where my stuff is right now.
That's where Stuart's stuff is. So when I get a guest modeler coming in here, like somebody coming to hang out and work on a model for themselves or work on a project for themselves in my shop, they have a spot to work right there. So they can set up and work there and then take everything away when they go, whatever. So that works pretty good. And then that's it here. We'll shut this down and we'll reposition and shoot some more stuff of my painting area and my heavy construction area. So this is my main construction area. My heavy tools all live here. This is years of saving up money and with the business and being able to buy the great tools that you need. I love building big stuff or making stuff from scratch or whatever. So I've recently just picked up a milling machine that I have here. So this is a new purchase. In the last 2 weeks, I've had a chance to use it right away because I needed it for a job. So, and then if you look here, I've got my bandsaw here, which is a very large size bandsaw, so I can cut big stuff and do that kind of thing.
And the bandsaw's name is Fred.
Fred? I don't think it's called Fred. I haven't named it yet. We should have a naming contest. I can name all my tools and put their names on them.
Well, apparently the lathe over there is called BLAP.
It is, yes. So.
Hey, that's your name.
It is. Hey, there we go. So, and then there's the bandsaw there, and I got a drill press in here. If you want to come in here. I got a big drill press here. It's one of the big floor models, so I can work on really big stuff if I need to. I've got a lathe, which is might be my favorite tool. I'm not sure. The milling machine's new, so it's my new favorite. So, so I got the lathe here. I got a piece of resin chopped up in there right now. I'm working on a project for an aerospace company, so that's all. If you see stuff covered in towels, that's what I'm working on. I can't show it's proprietary. And then, of course, the tool walls are all organized. I got a really messy bench here. Don't look at that too much because I've got to reorganize that because it's just whatever. I got my 2 sanders. I got a big disc sander. These things are amazing. I got this about 1.5 years ago. I wanted one for a long time, and it's just great for working on large material, for shaping large blocks and stuff like that. It comes in very handy. Even with the casting, occasionally you have to do something with sort of an annoying pour stub on it. You can come over here and you can grind it off on there. This old guy here needs a new sanding disc on there. I've been beating on that recently. And, you know, it's got the belt on top. And then I've got a surface here with sandpaper fastened to it. It's time to replace the sandpaper. It starts to curl up. This is a sheet of 3/8 inch aquarium glass from a busted aquarium I got. And my buddy Shane got me that piece of glass. And I just spray mount 4 different grits of sandpaper on there to work on stuff. And if you're sanding resin kits or anything, you want to have a perfectly flat surface. You want to sand it on here, and you just want to be able to just, you know, sand big things on here back and forth, and you can get a perfectly flat surface. It works good with styrene kits for aircraft with 2 halves. You want to get them to fit perfect. They're not quite perfect. You just snip off those useless little nubs on there, alignment pins, and you just can sand the 2 sides flat and go from there. I've got like 60, 120, 220, and 320 grits stuck on there. So, and it's next to a laundry tub here. So if I want to wet sand at all, I can just wet sand, and the water's right there, and it's very easily accessible. So, and I mean, with these big tools, I've made some pretty big stuff for different customers. It's very handy to do. I've done aluminum parts for UAVs and stuff like that as well. I do the occasional job like that. That's kind of a bit different than the regular resin casting thing, just to keep things interesting. So, that's it for the big construction area, pretty much. So, welcome to the paint area. So, this is where all the painting happens, obviously. I've got all my supplies here. I've got a large selection of paints on paint racks that I've built, and I may start marketing these paint racks actually, so you can organize your paints the same way. If you got the wall space for it, it's great. You can see all the colors and everything. I got a lot of old Model Master paints I hardly use anymore. To me, acrylics are nice. This is all my metallics here mostly. I got Alclads. I got my MIG weathering stuff up here. And most of these down here are custom mixed. They're all labeled, so I have custom mixed colors for different jobs I'm doing. There's a green right now for a Romulan ship I'm working on, the old classic Romulan Warbird. That's a custom green I made to put on there. I'm doing it a bit different than what is standard, so I like doing that kind of thing. And over here is all my Gunzy lacquers and all my Mr. Surfacers for priming. I got Mr. Resin Primer, and I got their regular primers plus their black finishing primer, which is a very nice primer. And most of these are Gunzy lacquers with a few of the Gunzy acrylics down at the bottom. So these are difficult to get in Canada because of shipping regulations and stuff. So, and then behind me, oh, there's a bench here too. Sorry, before I go on, there's a bench here so I can mix my paints and I can spill stuff and I'm not too. I got a piece of plastic on there to protect it. So good little paint mixing and organizing area, stuff like that. My 2 airbrushes are stored up here. I've got a Grex, which I don't use very much anymore, and I've got an Iwata. This is the new Neo trigger action airbrush. These are a very nice airbrush. I got mine from Tom Grossman at Tag Team Hobbies. So that's a great airbrush. And then you come in here, and this is the main spray booth. Down here, I've got all my spray cans stored there, and my thinners and stuff are all the way down at the bottom. You can see I like the Tamiya spray cans. I bought an old hobby shop worth of stock of Tamiya spray cans and the old Model Master stuff. I don't use those. I tend to decant these so I can airbrush them because their spray can nozzles are garbage. What else is there? I can hang parts on the wall with these little hooks. I got all kinds of little clips like this so you can clip little parts in the hemostat like that, and then once it's painted you can just hang it up. So these are nice because they're like, you know, a medical grade stainless steel. So you can just like dip these things in lacquer thinner or something. You can just clean them off. Quite simple. So I've got a quick connect here for my airbrushes. So it's kind of a gimmick at first I thought, but it's super handy to be able to move your airbrush in and out of your spray booth or something. Because when I use rattle cans in here, I don't want the vapor from the rattle cans getting on my airbrush and getting it all dirty and clogged up and stuff. Got an air line coming in here from my main compressor. I got the valve block out there that runs all my air lines and everything. So I got a nice regulator here to run my airbrushes. Got a little turntable here that's really handy. Foam blocks that come with like old appliances and stuff you buy are super handy. This one's been sprayed with lacquer thinner a bunch of times. It's kind of looking like an old asteroid now or something. So, but having a turntable like that is really handy for painting stuff, and you can spin it around and that, and you can just like set boards on there, or a board with a paper towel to set your model on while you're painting it, or if you got it on some kind of a stick, you can jam the stick into the styrofoam and the thing will stand up on there and you can spray it and you can rotate it and get at it from all different angles, and turning these things you can get it up higher to get down low and stuff like that, so it's kind of handy. Got a big vent fan that goes through. There's a filter on the far side, so this fan here, if I run this fan for more than 20 minutes in the winter time, my furnace comes on because it sucks so much air out of the house. House starts to get cold, so the furnace comes on. Same thing in the summertime when it's hot and the air conditioning is going. The air conditioning will work extra hard because this fan's sucking so much cold air out of my house. So it's very, I can spray rattle cans in the house and use like really heavy duty stuff like Duplicolor spray cans, and you can't smell them in the rest of the house. So this fan is, it's amazing. I got it through somebody who got it through somebody. I got it like for $20, and they're like a $300 fan, I think. So it's good to know people. And then there's the messy wall over here with all the stuff that's been getting worked on. And when I was testing the airbrush, I just tested on the wall here. So the spray booth in my house here is built where there's a bathroom rough-in. So there's like a pipe coming out of the wall down here and stuff. So I just used 2x2 pieces of post, built a little frame, stood it up, screwed it to the floor joists up here. And this is just vapor barrier from the hardware store. I just put vapor barrier on the walls to seal it in, and I taped a few of the seams I needed to keep all the fumes in here. And then where Stuart's standing there, you can see there's this plastic that I cut. So it's just like, you know, you go into like the cold room or something, like in a restaurant, and they have the door with the plastic hanging there. This is the same kind of thing. So, and lots of light, guys. I've got 2 lights on either side. So when I'm spraying, I got light coming from both sides. I don't get shadows on my thing that I'm working on, so it's super handy. You got to have lots of light when you're spraying if you want to get the good finish, and that's the way you're gonna, you know, have nice models. If you're worried about winning awards, well, that's a necessity. If you want to win awards in contests, you got to have lots of light so you can see all the flaws in your paint, so you can come back and fix them. All right, that's it for the paint area. Oh wait, you want to show my workbench here, right?
Yeah.
So this is the workbench from the other side. You can see some projects I'm working on here. There's a figure there. There's another part I got to remold for something. And then just some random tools sort of kicking around. So
it looks a lot more organized from this side. The other side, it's hard to see, but yeah, this looks a lot better. That's good. Yeah, so some foam packing material. That pattern was packed in. So, yep, so this is the main work area here. Again, lots of light.
so you can work. I use these magnifying glasses when I'm working on stuff, so I can see up close really well.
Because you're old.
Because I'm old, yeah. There's that too. So yeah, and that's it. I got some material stored in the middle there. I got sandpaper and big pieces, smaller pieces of sandpaper, and then I've got like my glues and stuff are all in a tray there. So they're just like first order retrievability. I can just grab them and pull them out. And I got a laptop sitting here right now, so I can access the internet, or I'll do Skype meetings with customers or whatever. And I can just be here while I'm working. I can be talking on Skype and do it, or I'll listen to audiobooks while I'm working sometimes, and I can have headphones at night and from the laptop and work there, that kind of stuff. So works out good. Oh, and I got my big vise. If you want to get an awesome vise, you can do something like this, and every shop needs a good vise. So I got this from a friend of mine again, and this was made right in London, Ontario, right near here. And this vise is probably 65 years old, but I've never seen a vise that's as solid or as nicely built as this. This is a heavy-duty piece of equipment right there, so I was lucky to get into it. And it's painted to me a mica blue with gold on it because I had the paint around and I wanted to paint it. So I like painting all my tools if I can. And that's it. That's it for the painting and more of my construction area. And last but not least is my computer setup here I have, and my audio setup. So you got to have music in the shop. I love having music all the time when I'm working. I listen to also YouTube videos, TED Talks. I'll listen to Tested.com all the time. Those guys got some great videos on there. There's lots of good videos you can just listen to. You haven't really pay attention to what they're doing. It's more of an audio thing, so it works really good. So I got a couple of monitors set up here, and I got my audio set up here. I've got an old CD player that hasn't run in 10 years, but it's there for some reason. And I've got some of my personal kit collection down here. There's some stuff there, and then it goes sort of under my stairs. There's stuff, but it's kind of a mess under there, so I'm not going to show you. And that's about it, really. I got some old license plates up here. I love those. My father got those when I was a very small boy. He worked up in the Northwest Territories in the Yukon, in the mines, so he brought those back, and I've inherited those now, so it's nice to have those as a good reminder. And that's about it. So here we go.
Alright guys, that's it from the BLAPOSPHERE for today. We will be doing other videos with Dave, of course, but check out BLAPmodels.com and see some of his work. And is there anything else you'd like to tell him to visit?
Yeah, if you visit my website, you'll see there's a link on here also to go to my Facebook page, and there's a link on my Facebook page for BLAP Models to my BLAPOSPHERE page as well. So you can also just search on Facebook for BLAP Models or BLAPOSPHERE, and my pages will come up as well. BLAPOSPHERE is my personal builds mostly, and BLAP Models is everything related to the business.
Cool. Alright, well thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this look at the BLAPOSPHERE, and we will talk to you very soon. This is Captain Foley and Blappy, signing off until next time. Bye.